So first of all is what is a database? A database is a very efficient way to store highly structured data for querying and data management. So what I mean by querying is really just question answering. So I have a ton of data and I want to ask a question about it. You can conceptually think of the data stored inside of a database as being kind of like in a workbook. Like this. With a workbook, we have these different, down here at the bottom, you can see we have two different sheets, and in database lingo, these would be considered two different tables. We have a hetero here that tells me what each of the entries looks like, just like what you would expect in a regular table. And database lingo also uses the same conceptualization of rows and columns. So a row would be a slice this way, and rows are just entries inside of these tables, and then columns represent slices across all of the rows. So here's a composer column, and inside of this column has all of the different composers. There are a ton of different kinds of databases, and the one that we're going to be looking at is called SQLite or SQLite. So I have a little experiment, an example.database SQLite file, and I have a data.csv, which is just a text version of this database, and 2 Python scripts just to make it fair. And this db.py, what it's going to do is run the query against this database, and the text.py is going to run a query against the CSV file, which is this plain text. So the query that we're asking, so this database, by the way, I should mention, the database and CSV contain a list of different orders. And so the question I'm going to ask is to fetch me all information you can about the order whose ID is blank and whatever the order ID I chose. So we're going to time both of these and see how long it takes. So let's first time the text file. There's a UNIX command called time that I can just run. Time Python 3 text.py. So I can run this guy. The real time is how much time, like a wall clock. It's called wall clock time. So how much time has elapsed overall. So you see it's about 2 seconds, and we can convert this into milliseconds, so it'll be useful. So it's about 2,000 milliseconds. Okay, so that's how long it would take. And I should mention that the number of rows we have in this table that we're running the query against is a little over 500,000 rows, which will keep that in mind. Now I'm going to show you how fast we can get this working using the database. So I can run this guy, and you see this, not even 1 second, not even 0.1 seconds, but it ends up taking 64 milliseconds. So you can see this huge difference between using a text file and using a database.